episode 199 of the All the Book Show, recorded at the David A. Howe Public Library, where we talk book news, author news, and literary news. I'm Eric Michaels.
I'm Nick Gunning.
We're actually at my house again.
We are, and I'm stressed about episode 200.
Yeah.
Feels like it's got to be big. We need
200 needs to be big.
We already had one of the monkeys on the show. How are we going to top that?
Yeah, how do you... I don't know.
Is Paul McCartney...
We don't have anything crazy planned
for
Paul McCartney
visible? Is he available?
I don't think he'd say yes.
Okay, well, we'll see.
Ringo?
Agree to
disagree. Maybe. Ringo?
Maybe I could. Did you already say...
You're a vegan.
I'm not. I'm just a vegetarian, not a vegan.
Oh, well, then you'd probably really offend Paul and Ringo. Are they both
I guess
vegans?
so. I think they are both vegans.
Yeah. They would think
you know
you're
what?
a monster.
I should clarify, because I do eat fish, so I think that makes me something else. I can't remember what. Listeners, you can tell us what that is. Did you already say book news, author news, literary news?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did.
Oh, he's still Eric Michaels, which I think you already said.
Yeah, that's
And I'm Nick Gunning.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be talking about the Bailey's Prize. No, it's not the Bailey's Prize anymore. It's the Women's Prize for Fiction.
Is there some controversy about that?
No.
Did Miss Bailey get
it's,
herself in the news?
No, this is we'll talk
Tell
about
us
this.
the truth, Bailey!
We'll talk about this a little more in this segment, but the Women's Prize for Fiction is an award given out in the UK, and it's sort of named with whatever sponsor it has. And Bailey's was the most recent, primary sponsor. Bailey's continues to be a sponsor. They're just not the top tier, named sponsor anymore. So it's just the Women's Prize for Fiction.
Okay.
We're going to be talking about that award later today. That means we'll get to hear the award game, which I like.
Next year could be the Kellogg's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you remember when Dana Carvey had his own sketch show, and every week it was the Mug Root Beer Dana Carvey show?
No.
Oh, it was true.
But yeah, he did have a show, right?
Post SNL, and when it aired, every single episode had a different, whatever it was, the Mountain Dew Dana Carvey show.
I think that they just did a documentary about that. That's on Hulu.
The Dana Carvey show?
Yeah, because it just crashed and burned, but it was supposed to be very funny.
Everybody loved it. Yeah. I liked it. I mean, I watched it.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
I think it was because it was in the vein of SNL. It was still a sketch show, but it was prime time.
Yeah, it had Stephen Colbert on it, right?
Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known him then, but I think you're right. Anyway,
you wouldn't have known him then. Yeah.
We're not talking about the Dana Carvey show. We will be talking about the Women's Prize for Fiction a little bit later.
Yes.
Right now, let's turn on the old bookmark. You know what?
What?
I love that theme.
Do you?
I gotta tell you, yeah. I was surprised because I was behind on the episode, and I listened to a more recent episode, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
So, anyway, kudos to that.
I didn't make that. He did that on his own. His own volition.
Who did that?
Ben Lehman.
Oh, wow.
He just sent it to us.
Thanks, Benny. Yeah. Ben Lehman does all of our music, so if you like the music, props to Ben Lehman for that. I love the opening theme. Yeah. Anyway, bookmark. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to?
I have less of a bookmark than you, so I'll go first.
Let's do it.
Last week I meant to say I read a Transmetropolitan, but I didn't say it. So now I can say I've read 2 Transmetropolitans.
Warren Ellis?
Yeah, Warren Ellis. This is a Vertigo comic. Volumes 8 and 9. I've only got one more volume left. So next, and it's on its way. So next week I'll probably be talking about the end of that series.
Pretty exciting stuff.
It's been good. This is one of those comics that I really enjoy, but I would not use as one to recommend to people. I'd have to really know if the person would like it or not.
Boy.
It's very weird. Its humor is very specific. Do you like the idea of a 2-headed cat that smokes cigarettes and kills dogs
a little bit
as a pet?
Except for the dog killing.
Yeah. Do you like a lot of urine jokes?
No, I don't.
Okay, well then it might not be for you.
Okay. That would be a fun segment sometime.
What?
Books that you like that you wouldn't recommend to other people.
Yeah, sure.
Put it out to if you have a book, listeners, if you have a book that you like that you wouldn't recommend to other people, tell us and we'll use it in a future episode. SoundCloud.com/allthebooks or Twitter @allthebookshow.
Woo!
Go ahead.
I just echoed into something.
Yeah, I liked
Where'd
it.
that echo come from?
Probably your guitar.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it just played a little bit.
I did, yeah.
Nice.
Did.
That was kind of like a ghost playing my guitar.
It's actually terrifying.
Yeah, like the ghost has unfinished rock business.
He does. Yeah.
So, that's a good idea.
A ghost with unfinished
ghost that
rock
never
business?
finished an album. He died in the midst of an album, and he has one more song left. So he goes to find a music producer and haunts him until he helps.
That's kind of the plot of the Broadway show Forever Plaid.
No.
Sorry.
Darn it.
Sorry.
Every
but
idea.
They're like a 4-person barbershop group. It's not the same.
Okay. Yeah, this would just be a guy.
Anyway.
Rock tendencies.
Just one guy.
Yeah, one guy.
Okay.
And I'm reading Blue Mars still. So I'm at 35%.
Mm-hmm.
And that means I'm at page 260.
Oh my gosh.
It's a slow read. A lot of times I'm reading and I'm like, I don't get Kim Stanley Robertson's style. There's a lot of just description of the environment. And I guess that makes sense when you're terraforming Mars.
Yeah.
But it's usually the same. It's like, yes, Mars has giant rocks and canyons.
I tell you what, this has been an interesting journey with you because this is the third. This is the third in a trilogy, and you've not liked any of them. But you keep going.
I like them in pieces, in parts.
All right.
They're important. I have to read them as part of the Hugo Nebula journey I take.
All right, I can respect that.
And then I won't have to read any more.
Yeah.
But again, I enjoyed them in pieces.
A great attitude.
And recently, like in the past 2 days, I'm like, I'm just going to plow through it.
Yeah.
And that's how I got through 200 pages.
That's pretty good.
So I got about 1,020 more to go.
Is that true?
No, it's like a 600-page book.
Well,
I don't know.
okay, that's doable.
200-something pages. I'm 35% done.
I'm not required
You do
to.
the math, listener.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll tell you right now. Update progress. Oh, it just says I'm on page. Screw this app. Essential X-Men Volume 8. I'm basically done with, but I have like 3 annuals to read.
I see.
And those are a little less interesting.
Yeah.
Mojo was just in one.
Oh.
I like Mojo.
My least favorite X-Men character. If you'd like to talk more about the X-Men, you can listen to our special episode. Last episode, episode 198, our Spotlight on the X-Men. Or follow Eric and Hillary over at Previously on X-Men. So for me, let's see. I read a few oddball things. I read the novelization for Lost in Space, the 1999-1998 film.
Oh.
So, I know. So I picked this up over in Fillmore. Our friends at the Wide Awake Club had their annual book sale. I just happened to see this. I love Lost in Space. I love novelizations. And it's written by Joan D. Ving, or Vinge. Have you read any of her stuff? The Snow...
Oh, yeah. Snow Crash?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that whole series. So Hugo Award-winning author wrote this novelization, so I was pretty excited about it. It was not good.
Oh.
It just didn't really...
not Snow Crash, Snow Queen.
Yeah, Snow Queen.
Yeah, I got it to read.
There's a whole series of those, so there might be a Snow Crash. But yeah, so she wrote Snow Queen. It's kind of an interesting story. If you look back, she's got a couple, this author, Joan Vinge, has a couple of popular series. Won the Hugo, nominated for Nebula, and won several other things. Then was in a car accident that made it so that she had some like minor brain damage and couldn't write. And so then she didn't publish for a long time, and then kind of like through therapy and stuff got back to it, and has written a few things since, including the novelizations for 47 Ronin and Cowboys and Aliens.
Wow!
So interesting career,
Jeez.
But this one just didn't really do it for me. It didn't go any deeper than the movie did. You know, there's a lot there, so I kind of thought they would, but no.
Sorry, man.
Then I read Star Trek The Next Generation Intelligence Gathering. This is part of the new IDW ongoing series. This is the second of these that I've read, and they are nonsense.
Oh, sorry.
I read them, and I'm just like, how did we get here? What's happening? This is so confusing. This doesn't make sense.
The problem I see you're having, they're based on the second series called Star Trek The Next Generation.
I see.
So there's about 7 seasons you should have watched.
No wonder Kirk seems so prim in this.
Yeah, and bald.
But anyway, so I'm like, is it me? Am I just having some kind of problem? I look at the reviews, and everybody's like, this is so confusing, convoluted to follow. So this is a comic. It is a comic. It's a graphic novel.
When is this supposed to take place? In the next
during the series? But it's
weird.
It's like these little vignettes that stand alone, and then both of them, in the end, was sort of like, but there was a thing that was going through all of them, and that makes it so much more confusing. Because you sort of... I don't like them. They're not good.
Sorry, man.
If I hadn't got a bundle of these online, I got 15 Star Trek graphic novels. Yeah. These were in them. I would never have picked them up again.
This might be a spoiler, but did you ever figure out how you're going to keep reading Exiles?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I did.
Did you?
So Eric recommended the X-Men sort of spin-off series, Exiles, which has versions of the X-Men basically being like Quantum Leap or Sliders.
Yeah.
I was trying to get them through interlibrary loan, and libraries do not have them. So I was able to get the first 5 volumes.
Wow.
Very cheap, because no one's reading these right now.
Right.
For our collection. So now locals can have access to them, and it's a
Sure,
great
and
series.
so can you.
And so can I. But now they'll actually be available for interlibrary loan, so other libraries can get them too. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I got them in like single issues in pieces, but they were still kind of hard to find. I don't think it was a book that was like constantly on the edge of cancelization. Yeah. And so I only just reread them like 2 years ago, a year ago, like in one sitting with the Marvel Unlimited app. But like, I'm not surprised that.
So it's weird. It's just like this whole hard to find
thing. I think a lot of people, like at the time, X-Men was still pretty big, but people weren't sure, like, is this an X-Men title? Does this count? I mean, all the characters are based on X-Men.
Yeah.
But today, that would not happen. Now they would all be based on Avengers.
So. They'd all be based on Wolverine. Just Wolverine. Anyway, yeah, so those are the two that I read. Mm-hmm. I'm currently reading A Woman Is No Man by Edith Rum. And I'm going to make a prediction right now that this is going to be, we're going to be talking about this book next year's Women's Prize for Fiction.
Look at that.
So far, so good. And then I'm also...
Book?
No,
that's
just
how
saying
you feel
the
about
book,
the
yes.
book. Okay.
And then I finally started The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. Do you remember this book came out a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
It was absolutely everywhere.
Yeah.
We've had this in our house forever. It's a big bear of a book, and I finally am just like, I've been wanting to read it. I'm doing it.
Why?
So,
What happened?
well, I've always wanted to read it,
right.
But it's also, there's some adaptation coming out next year or something like that.
That's true.
So I was like,
okay,
it's now or never.
Isn't it even this year?
Is it? I don't know. I just remember seeing something.
I'm sure Tom Hanks is in it.
Tom Hanks, you think?
No, I don't know.
He only plays historical characters now.
That's true. And Dave Eggers characters.
Yeah, and Dave Eggers. Yep. Hologram for the King. Very good movie, everyone. I watched a couple of things over the weekend. We've talked so much about X-Men, but my wife and I rewatched X-Men Apocalypse to get ready for Dark Phoenix. I hated it the first time. Didn't like it this time. Liked it a little more. I still like Storm. She's well represented in the movie.
Alexander Shipp.
I guess that's it.
She's all right.
What else? Men in Black International. So I've never really been super into the Men in Black series, you know? So I didn't really have a ton writing on this, but I had a good time. I thought they had good chemistry, a lot of good interactions. It really worked for me. I liked it. I would watch another one, but I think that's not going to be.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like many people are responding.
Finally, and coincidentally, I started Lost in Space, the new, is it Netflix?
Yeah.
Watched the pilot for that. I really liked it. I thought it was very good.
Talking about the one with Parker Posey.
Very well done. Yep.
Yeah, that's Netflix.
Yep. So that's it for me.
How's
bookmark
the
wise.
robot?
Cool.
Yeah.
It's very different. It's a totally different take on really everything. I mean, it's you could recognize it, but they took some really good twists.
How's the kid?
He's good.
Will? Yeah. I don't remember him being that annoying in the movie.
No, he was pretty good in the movie. And there was a cool thing where well, I guess maybe this gives away, but the original Bill movie from the old classic show has a cool cameo in it.
In the movie?
In the series.
Who played old Will in the movie?
That's what's his name?
Jeff Bridges.
No, he plays Moriarty in the Sherlock Holmes movies. Robert Downey Jr. Oh. He's in Mad Men as Lane. I can't think of his name. But yeah. Originally, Bill Movie wanted to play that, and they were like, no. So, but he does cameo as a cool role in this one. So, we also have this in our collection. I know because I currently have it checked out.
Yeah, that's true.
If you want to watch it, put a hold on it. You can have it when
every
I'm
now
done.
and then I gotta get the shows that are big on streaming, like Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
And
do we have Jack Ryan now?
Yeah, Jack Ryan season 1.
Cool. I'm gonna check that out. That's it for me.
Especially Amazon, because I don't know how many people are watching shows on Amazon.
I know.
Sorry, Amazon.
Yeah.
I mean, not. You're the
They're doing fine.
They're doing fine. My apologies.
They're doing fine. All right, you want to move it on to some book news?
Yeah. Do you want the New York Times bestsellers list, or do you want... I actually found some legitimate book news.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that. I've got something I want to share as well, so go ahead.
Okay. Hunger Games prequel book and possible movie on the way. Suzanne Collins wanting to do the same thing J.K. Rowling does. I added that on there.
Right.
It says Suzanne Collins has written a book set in Penham 64 years before the original dystopian trilogy, and Lionsgate has converged interest in adapting it to the big screen. And I'm just like, well, of course they both have done this.
Right.
Like, it's over. It made lots of money, but at the same time, it's like doing a prequel because it's going to be like, but then we get to see more Hunger Games. It's like, well, isn't that what your book was talking about?
Right.
How we shouldn't be doing this?
Right.
Now you're just going to give us more? She says, with this book, I wanted to explore the state of nature, who we are, and what we perceive is required for our survival. The Reconstruction period 10 years after the war, commonly referred to as the Dark Days, as the country of Penham struggles back to its feet, provides fertile ground for characters to grapple with these questions and thereby define their views of humanity, and also allows me to get more royalty rights. I added that.
You added the last part.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and make another prediction that it's too late.
Yeah.
I think we've we've just moved on. I think we moved on from that genre. I think we move on from that character.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wouldn't be the character. It'd be 60 years.
Right. But I mean, I guess I meant the world. Yeah. The world.
Well, also, they split the last movie into 2 pieces, and I'm pretty sure one of them did not make that much money. I didn't even see part 1 of 3. I waited until...
Yeah, part 1 is nothing.
Yeah, I just skipped it and watched the last one.
Yeah.
I was over it with the second movie.
Yeah.
So...
You know, the thing I think people tend to forget, or at least I do sometimes, is that Suzanne Collins is actually a very good writer. I mean, those books...
Like the
have you read the books?
No.
The
Hunger Games books? Yeah, I've read the three
I
of
think
them.
those are excellent, don't you?
I didn't like the third one.
Didn't you?
I know. The first two
I heard
books.
a lot of that. I heard a lot of that at the time. I remember.
I liked the second book until we got back to more Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Until it was like, now we're back in another game. I'm like, no, because I was into it.
It's short though. It's short.
I was into the first half.
I mean, we discussed this at the time, but that's the one. If you're going to split it into two movies, do it with book two. But
they didn't.
I know there was a lot of negativity about the last book in that series, but it worked for me. I liked it. I thought it was good. But my point is, she, I think, is a much better writer than a lot of like Veronica Roth or J.K. Rowling. I think she's a much stronger, tighter writer. So I guess I would give her. I have a little bit more faith in her than I would like a Harry Potter prequel, but I still think it's.
Hey, I gotta tell you though,
thanks,
when I was a kid and I was reading Harry Potter,
yeah,
I wanted like a really dark Harry Potter prequel about his parents and stuff.
What about a goofy movie series? It doesn't make any sense. That's
like that. Yeah, no, I didn't want that.
Oh, you didn't want that?
No,
Okay,
I definitely didn't want the Fantastic Beasts movies.
Yeah,
still don't.
Nobody does. I don't understand who's going to these movies.
Yeah,
but
I guess we feel like we have to.
I don't.
Oh, all right. What's your movie news other than authors really wanting to make more cash?
Yes. Well, you know, Dr. Sleep, the sequel to The Shining.
Oh yeah, I forgot to bring this up.
Being made into a movie, starring Ewan McGregor as a grown-up Danny Torrance.
Yeah.
So, if I remember right, you prefer Dr. Sleep to The Shining.
The book?
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you're not familiar, Dr. Sleep is Danny grown up, and it kind of split between Danny and a character named Abra, who's getting similar Shining-esque powers.
Yeah, her Shining powers are a lot more comic booky in terms of their psychic powers.
I agree. So there's a really good stuff about it. There's a lot, like the villains in that movie, the True Knot, who are like
vampires,
sexy vampires who look
you could
like
have just said vampires. We know.
Yeah, no, but that's the whole point.
Yeah, no, they're sex vampires.
But it's like they're the hottest, sexiest people in the world, but they're also like RV grandparents. Like he describes them in both ways, and it's it never gels to me. Okay. But anyway, this movie's being adapted with Ewan McGregor as Danny, and the film producers and writers and all that have decided that they want it to be in the Kubrick universe.
Yes.
So if you're familiar at all with Stephen King and The Shining, you know that Stephen King
hates the movie.
The movie, like to the extreme.
Yeah.
And I kind of think Kubrick hated the Stephen King book, honestly. Yeah. But and Stephen King has just gone on record many times saying he did not like it.
Yeah.
Everything he does in Dr. Sleep lets you know for sure that none of that stuff matters.
Yeah.
That none of that counts. And I think he actually says in like a forward or an afterword, like, forget that movie.
Yeah.
But the filmmakers have decided that's what they want to do. They're actually going to be using some Kubrick footage.
Yeah.
And doing things to specifically tie into that movie, which has been met with approval by both the Kubrick estate and Stephen King himself.
Yeah, I saw that they had to have like a meeting with King to say we needed to be in the Kubrick universe.
Yeah.
And I guess he was kind of won over to the idea. Yeah. But I mean, not wrong.
Yeah.
That if you don't do it, people are going to be like, what the heck?
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I mean, the fact that both the Kubrick estate and Stephen King are on board with this movie gives me kind of a shot of adrenaline of hope, thinking like maybe it's actually going to be good. Plus Ewan McGregor, you know.
I don't love The Shining in general, so I know you don't.
I love that book. I think it's an amazing book.
I don't like the book. I guess I just don't like the story. I don't like the story. I don't like the movie. And I get that they're both classics, but like I read them and it doesn't do anything for me.
The movie's hard because, and we've talked about this in depth in our Stephen King episode early on, but the movie's difficult because it's so many interesting things. It's a well-made movie. It is a terrible adaptation of the book. So I think if you come to it from the book, you're not going to like it.
Stephen King also was on record recently saying he wants somebody else like Netflix or Hulu to do Under the Dome and just start from scratch.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah,
Stephen King, he's not been very happy lately.
Well, there hasn't been a lot of really good adaptations of Stephen King.
I think until It was making people happy and making money, but even Pet Sematary bombed or maybe not bombed, but didn't make as much as they did.
Pet Sematary is just an impossible sell. I don't know why you touch Pet Sematary. The 11/22/63 on Hulu with James Franco, that was great.
Yeah,
that was really well done.
Yeah.
And I mean, somewhere out there, there's a Mr. Mercedes.
Did you ever watch that show?
What? Mr. Mercedes?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't like those books.
Oh, all right.
But Maybe I'll watch it someday. We do have that. We have that on DVD.
Yeah.
That was on, I don't even know what network that was on.
Yeah, it was like a Free Pass Friends channel.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
I don't know why it's called Free Pass Friends channel.
It's a confusing name.
Yeah.
So anyway, the sequel to The Shining, Dr. Sleep, is coming out and will be both faithful to the Stephen King books and the Kubrick world. So
maybe. We'll see.
Very bizarre. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to it.
I like the name Abra. I use it too. But my wife says no.
She doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll come around.
Maybe I can just get like a ferret and name it Abra.
Yeah. Should we clarify that you're not having a baby?
I'm not having a baby right now, but I like the name
someday.
Abra.
Okay. Maybe for a guinea pig if you get a new guinea pig.
There's a Pokemon named Abra.
Really?
I'm never having a guinea pig again.
Jeez. Should we plug our ears?
No, Mango, you're fine.
Okay,
Mango's great.
Good.
But we're definitely done with guinea pigs after this.
Okay.
A lot of work and attention. It doesn't really come back to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're talking to somebody who has a tortoise, so I understand what you're saying. All right, New York Times bestseller list.
Okay.
What's going on?
All right, let's see. Number 10 on the hardcover adult fiction.
Remember when I used to do a drum roll and you always got mad at me about it?
Yeah.
Okay. Just wondering.
Well, don't do it now because the mic's on the table.
I know. I just wondered if you'd remembered.
Number 10, Sunset Beach by Mary Kay Andrews and Ashley Olsen. I made that Olsen one up.
Okay.
Drew Campbell inherits a rundown beach bungalow and takes a job as her estranged father's personal injury attorney office. Number 9, Skin Game by Stuart Woods and Parnell Hall.
Stuart Woods.
Sorry, man. The third book in the Teddy Faye series.
Teddy Faye is a recurring villain in the Stone Barrington series.
Well, in this book, Teddy Faye scours Paris underworld to find a treasonous criminal.
Yeah, I think Parnell Hall, is it? Parnell Hall?
Chris Parnell.
Yeah, it's Chris Parnell co-writes these as Dr. Leo Spaceman. Parnell Hall has his own series of stuff, and he came on board to write these Teddy Faye books with Stuart Woods.
Okay.
So who knows if they're looking to branch out and have Parnell take over some of the... Stone Barrington. Barrington. These books are so...
He does a lot of voice acting these days.
These books are so pervy. I just had to...
the Stuart Woods books?
I just had to give up on them. They're just too...
Number 8, Redemption by David Baldacci. It's been here for 8 weeks. This is the 5th book in the Memory Man series.
Not a fan.
Well, this is the one where he has to help a man.
You're not doing me any favors.
Sorry, man.
I haven't read Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen's Beach Adventure, or whatever that first one was.
Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen's Beach Adventure. They'd have a better title than that.
Probably.
But it'd probably be good.
They wouldn't need it. People buy it.
Yeah. Beach Holiday. I mean, you could just call
Beach
it that.
Holiday, yeah.
What was
Life's a Beach.
Well, maybe. I wonder if they could get that away.
I think they could.
How the West Was Fun. I watched that one.
That's a great title.
They did those other ones.
Look, It Takes Two.
Paris.
It Takes Two with Kirstie Alley and Steve Guttenberg. Sign me up.
You like that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Is Steve Guttenberg not in all of them? I guess he was always in all of them.
I think Steve Guttenberg is only in that one.
All right.
And the Police Academy movies, but not all of the Police Academy movies.
And Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen are in Police Academy 8?
They're going to be in the reboot. That's not true.
Number 7, The Guest Book by Sarah Blake. Evie Milton uncovers a story going back a couple generations that may shatter a family myth. Isn't there a 4th Olsen?
I think so.
Now acting as well?
Oh, really? Oh, I don't know. I don't follow him like you do. I don't know.
David Olsen?
Could be.
But didn't they have a brother who was in their music video, please buy our brother? No, when they were younger, they were trying to sell their little brother.
Brother for sale. Yeah.
Yeah, brothers for sale.
Yes, I had that cassette tape.
Did you?
I did. Yeah.
Wow, how many songs came on that?
There was something about peanut butter on there. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, number 6, by Ocean Vuong. Little Dog writes a letter to a mother who cannot read, revealing a family history. I have no idea what this is.
It was like word salad.
Word salad. Okay. Number 5, Queen Bee by Dorothy Benton Frank. A beekeeper's quiet life is unsettled by her demanding mother, outgoing sister, and neighboring widower.
We've got some bees up in the cupola. Do you think they'd come in?
Yeah.
Get it out of there?
Yeah.
Dorothea Benton Frank?
If I had those 3 people bugging me, you know what I'd use?
What?
My bees.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, come on over. Yeah. Oh, no, bees!
Go, my children.
So, I like how they put a neighboring widower. Why don't you just say, your neighbor?
Yeah, neighbor.
Yeah.
Neighbor.
Number 4, new this week, Fall. Oh, by Neil Stephenson.
Oh.
Why
little sci-fi action.
Yeah, sci-fi. There we go. A dead multi-billionaire's brain is scanned and turned back on at a time when humans live as digital souls.
Yeah, I was going to say, Neil Stephenson, we talked about a bit on the Cyberpunk episode.
That's right.
A few episodes back. Cyberpunk. SoundCloud.com/allthebooks.
Because of Snow Crash, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, all right. This sounds interesting. I guess.
Well, I'm glad you perked up for it.
Thanks. Number 3, Unsolved by James Patterson and David Ellis. New this week.
As in why these books are still selling. Unsolved.
A string of seemingly accidental and unrelated deaths confound FBI agent Emmy Dockery.
Emmy Dockery.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 2, new this week, City of Girls by Elizabeth Gilbert. What does she write?
Eat, Pray, Love?
89-year-old Vivian Morris looks back at the direction her life took when she entered the 1940s New York theater scene.
You think she's happy with it?
In those days, the Olsen twins were small and adorable. But then they grew up and got into cocaine!
Eat, Pray, Love is written by Elizabeth Gilbert.
Okay.
Yep.
There you go. Well, I guess the Olsen twins weren't even born in the 40s.
No, I don't think so.
We had only...
Unless it's like a Shining situation where they were just
they've
always there.
been.
Yeah.
Where the Crawdads Sing is at number 1. Happy? You want that?
I'm not.
You'd rather that, huh? Nice,
No,
nice softball there.
Like
Where the Crawdads Sing,
like
40
the
weeks on the
Nightingale
list.
all over again. I've had enough.
Do you think so?
I've had enough.
How long do you think this... I mean, she's in season 2 of Big Little Lies.
Yeah.
HBO needs a hit.
Yeah.
HBO needs wins right now because Game of Thrones is gone.
It's gonzo.
So apparently Chernobyl is like the best reviewed show ever.
Really?
Yeah. And
I like John Oliver's show, Last Week Tonight.
Yeah. But I think Chernobyl was also a ratings success for them. So
interesting.
Good for them. But that's a miniseries.
Yeah.
You can't stay alive on a miniseries.
Can't do it.
What's the last really good miniseries you watched?
11/22/63.
Wow, that was a while ago.
Yeah.
You need to time travel through that door and go back to when miniseries.
I guess I do.
I'm
impressed with your knowledge of that show.
I watched it. Watched the whole thing.
Good for you.
I cried during the commercials.
Oh no.
The commercials were sad. They played that song. Do you know the song that goes, if I could live my life again, I would love you over and over and over again?
No, that sounds sad.
It's just, it's sad. It's like, oh man, I'm going to cry when I think about it. Were they in the Disney machine, the Olsens?
Were the Olsens? I don't think so.
How the West Was Fun wasn't a Disney movie.
Well, maybe.
They seem like Disney creations.
They were at least on ABC Family, but that might have been pre-Disney.
Oh, you know what? They were on the Two of a Kind show. That was ABC.
Yeah.
So they were in the...
But is that pre-Disney? How long has Disney owned ABC?
Forever.
Oh, okay. And then, they were in the Disney machine.
Yeah. I liked that show. Two of a Kind.
Yeah, I liked it too.
For the most part.
Yeah.
It wasn't there was one called Brothers Keeper. I thought that was much funnier.
With the Olsen twins?
No.
Oh, okay. I like the ones with the Lawrence brothers. Brotherly Love was on about that same time.
Okay.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, but that's not what we're talking about
today. Are we talking about You Wish?
No.
The Genie Show. Only lasted a few episodes.
I remember that.
Teen Angel.
I remember that. All of those are so good.
I can't believe you never watched Shelby Woo.
I was too old. It was just
right
past... Yeah, it was right past my time.
Story?
I know.
Oh,
I know. I was
32?
I was 18 or something.
Oh, okay. Big 18-year-old. Living his life. Can't watch Shelby Woo.
Shelby Woo on Nickelodeon. You're right. I couldn't. All right, you know what? We need some music to get us out of this zone.
Nic and Eric present the awards.
Nice.
This week we're going to be talking about the Women's Prize for Fiction. You can find out more at womensprizeforfiction.co.uk. The Women's Prize for Fiction, which we've covered in the past, one of the most prestigious literary awards in the world. The Women's Prize for Fiction was known as the Orange Prize for Fiction between 1996 and 2012, and most recently the Bailey's Women's Prize for Fiction between 2014 and 2017. It celebrates excellence, originality, and accessibility in women's writings from throughout the world. Written by women for everyone. So, we talked about the long list quite a while ago, went down to a short list, and just this month, we got down to the winner. So, what I wanted to do was take us through some of the nominees. Some of these we've heard before, some are totally new. To me, anyway.
Yeah.
The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker. There was a woman at the heart of the Trojan War whose voice has been silent till now. Brescius was queen until her city was destroyed. Now she is slave to Achilles, the man who butchered her husband and brothers. Trapped in a world defined by men, can she survive to become the author of her own story? Discover the greatest Greek myth of all, retold by the witness history forgot. So this was a nominee. I kind of wonder, it seems like mythology, Greek mythology and all that is sort of like making a comeback. I wonder if that's going to be like the next bubble. Like we had fairy tales for a while. And
yeah, I don't know. But I mean... The teen market did that for a while. I mean, that's Rick Riordan's bread and butter.
That's true. You're right.
But I mean, I guess he was the only one doing it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I guess so.
It didn't hit the adult genre too much.
I guess not. So you think that's like the only one?
The Rick Riordan stuff?
For adults, this one.
For adult? I mean, also with the Cersei.
Aha! Which is our next nominee.
I see what
Cersei by Madeleine Miller. In the house of Helios, god of the sun, and mightiest of the Titans, a daughter is born. But Cersei has neither the look nor the voice of divinity, and is scorned and rejected by her kin. Increasingly isolated, she turns to mortals for companionship, leading her to discover a power forbidden to the gods, witchcraft. When love drives Cersei to cast a dark spell, wrathful Zeus banishes her to the remote island of Aiaia. There she learns to harness her occult craft, drawing strength from nature, but she will not always be alone. Many are destined to pass through Cersei's place of exile, entwining their fates with hers. The messenger god Hermes, the craftsman Daedalus, a ship bearing a golden fleece, and wily Odysseus on his epic voyage home. There is danger for a solitary woman in this world, and Cersei's independence draws the wrath of men and gods alike. To protect what she holds dear, Cersei must decide whether she belongs with the deity she's born from, or the mortal she has come to love. This is an interesting one because I remember when it came out,
we had no idea.
It debuted #1 on the bestseller list.
We were so confused.
Like, what is this? Yeah. And actually, this is really the first time I've seen a pretty consistent plot breakdown of this. I've never known just exactly what this is about. But I'll tell you, one of our friends over at the Nostalgia Me This podcast, Kendra,
my wife,
past guest, absolutely, read this and raved about it.
She liked it,
loved it.
Yeah.
She 5-starred it. Said everybody's got to read it. So
I think she wasn't fully aware that it was the Cersei that was in the Odyssey and everything. So I think that kind of came as a surprise.
What a pleasant little. Well, now you've ruined it for others.
But you just said it. You read the whole description.
Did I though?
You just said Zeus and Odysseus.
Yeah, I don't know. You have to play back the tape.
No.
Ordinary People by Diana Evans, another nominee for the Women's Prize for Fiction 2019. South London, 2008.
Hey, there are no ordinary people. Only ordinary questions.
Thank you, buddy. South London, 2008. Two couples find themselves at a moment of reckoning. On the brink of acceptance or revolution, Melissa has a new baby and doesn't want to let it change her. But in the crooked walls of a narrow Victorian terrace, she begins to disappear.
Uh-oh, what?
Yeah, I know. Michael, growing daily more accustomed to his commute, still loves Melissa, but can't quite get close enough to her to stay faithful. Meanwhile, out in the suburbs, Stephanie is happy with Damien and their 3 children, but the death of Damien's father has thrown him into crisis. Or is it something or someone else? Are they all just in the wrong place? Are any of them prepared to take the leap?
That is the type of book that I would not want to read.
I agree with you, but I'm looking at the responses here, and here they are. Here's a couple. Funny and Magnificent by The Guardian. Hilariously entertaining.
Funny.
Superb by The Daily Telegraph. A Lyrical and Glorious Writer by Naomi Alderman. So
I guess the way when you described it, it sounded like
very
it was
down, very depressing and dark.
It sounded like Girl on the Train.
I know. I wasn't reading this thinking like, this is hilarious.
Why do I even get out of bed in the morning?
All right. The next nominee here for the 2019 Women's Prize for Fiction is My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyin Can Braithwaite. When Karede's dinner is interrupted one night by a distress call from her sister Ayula, she knows what's expected of her. Bleach, rubber gloves, nerves of steel, and a strong stomach. Yes. This will be the 3rd boyfriend Ayula has dispatched in, quote, self-defense, and the 3rd mess that her lethal little sibling has left Karede to clear up. She should probably go to the police for the good of the menfolk of Nigeria, but she loves her sister, and as they say, family always comes first. Until, that is, Ayula starts dating the doctor where Karede works as a nurse.
Any of my siblings that are listening to this, the 4 of you, I want you to know, if you become serial killers, I will not clean up your mess.
Okay, so that's a big no from Eric.
The family comes first thing will not apply if you become serial killers.
Well, I think our friend Karede's going to have... Yes.
Hear me.
Okay.
If you're a serial killer...
You're not going to help.
You're out.
Well, I think Karede's about hit the end of her patience here.
Oh, okay. After cleaning up 3 kills.
Ayula starts dating the doctor where Karede works as a nurse. Karede's long been in love with him and isn't prepared to see him wind up with a knife in his back. But to save one would mean sacrificing the other. Interesting.
Yeah.
Don't know as that's a book I'd read.
Really?
I don't think so.
Sounds like a book my wife would read.
What a ghoul.
Yeah. Kendra, you're not a ghoul.
The Milkman by Anna Burns.
Yeah, did you read this?
I didn't.
Oh.
I haven't yet. I want to because...
Imagine if you had. What a launching point that would have been.
I know. It would have been great. It won the Man Booker Prize last year and has been on many a shortlist this year. So Milkman Anna Burns. In this unnamed city, to be interesting is dangerous.
Ooh.
Middle sister, our protagonist, is busy attempting to keep her mother from discovering her maybe boyfriend and to keep everyone in the dark about her encounters with Milkman.
Who's still getting milk delivered to them in 2019?
Did I say it was set in 2019?
Okay.
Maybe it's historical.
Maybe this is 1940.
I don't know if he's actually the Milkman or if that's just a name.
Cool. But you definitely want to be called the Milkman if you're not actually delivering milk. That is the name you want to have picked up in high school.
But when first...
it's Nic Milkman Gunning!
But when first brother-in-law sniffs out her struggle and rumors start to swell, middle sister becomes interesting.
Oh.
The last thing she ever wanted to be. To be interesting is to be noticed, and to be noticed is dangerous. Milkman is a tale of gossip and hearsay, silence and deliberate deafness. It's a story of inaction with enormous consequences. Mm-hmm. So far, we've had all these books in our collection. So if anybody wants them,
you're killing it. Yeah,
just come right in, check them out.
Trust Nic the Milkman Gunning.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
Nobody does.
I don't like that. The final book is our winner.
Ooh,
one that I read and enjoyed and talked about quite a bit on this show, and that is. Are you ready?
Yes, I know what it is.
Is there enough suspense?
Okay, yes.
Do you feel suspenseful? Now, yes. Okay. It is An American Marriage by T.R.E. Jones. Nice. And this was really. You like that? This was an Oprah's book club pick.
Oh, yeah.
Among others. Bestseller. Has a cover blurb from former President Barack Obama. Mm-hmm. Very, very well-reviewed book. Winner of the Women's Prize for Fiction 2019. And I loved it as well. Mm-hmm. Newlyweds Celestial and Roy are the embodiment of the American dream. He's a young executive and she's an artist on the brink of an exciting career. Ooh. Until one day they're ripped apart by circumstances neither could have imagined. Oh. Roy is arrested and sentenced to 12 years for a crime Celestial knows he didn't commit.
12 years.
Devastated and unmoored, Celestial finds herself struggling to hold on to the love that has been her center, taking comfort in Andre, their closest friend.
Oh, no. Sounds like he's a real milkman.
When Roy's... It's not applicable. When Roy's conviction is suddenly overturned... I would say spoiler alert on that one. Oh, okay. So, when Roy's conviction is suddenly overturned, he returns home ready to resume their life together.
Uh-oh. A
masterpiece of storytelling, An American Marriage offers a profoundly insightful look into the hearts and minds of three unforgettable characters who are at once bound together and separated by forces beyond their control. So... This book...
I want you to know, if you were to go to prison for 12 years,
yes,
I would get a new co-host.
You would get a new co-host for this. Yes. Could I still do it? Can you still do it from the Clink? Is that all right?
No, I don't think you're allowed to podcast from prison.
You don't think so?
I think you have to have very special circumstances.
You know what, though? Mm-hmm. The podcast Serial, she does talk to him in jail.
Yes, I think you can interview people in prison. But I don't think in prison they're going to allow you to pay for a hosting service. I don't think they're going to allow you to have a Twitter account.
But you can handle all that. I could just be the on-mic talent.
So you think I'm going to come every week to prison?
Yeah, you can do it over the phone. Okay. Like we do with your Joe Haldemans and your Michael Nesmiths. Just right over the phone.
They weren't in prison.
No, they weren't in prison, but the technology remains the same. So your one phone
call is going to be used for a new episode of the All the Book Show?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I have to call you collect, obviously. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Yeah. All right. So
Nic didn't commit this crime. I did just not. Like in the book. Nic did not commit this crime.
The book. So here's what's really interesting about this book. The characters are all really rich, and you see three different narrators. So Roy, Celestial, and
they're so
Andre.
rich. Why'd he go to prison?
Roy, Celestial, and Andre each have their own
indictment
section.
On the justice system.
It was, and it's pretty relevant to the book, honestly. Ooh. Roy, Celestial, and Andre each have their own sections of the book, and so you sort of see them coming from different angles. And it's another one of those things where, it seems it's hard to really put the blame on Celestial for not wanting to be married to somebody who's in prison, even though she knows he didn't do it.
Right.
But also, from his perspective, everything's taken from him, and he's just trapped in prison, and his wife's out there, and he's really clinging to that, and that gets him through it. And then Andre is just sort of pulled in from the outside, and so it could be a real cut and dried thing where he's this noble character and Celestial's this lusty villain. You've seen that kind of story play out. But I think that what American Marriage does so well is that gives all these characters really their own stories that are interconnecting and overlapping. They each have these unique relationships with each other, and by forcing them into these circumstances that it is no one's to blame, no one's at fault, it makes it so you really have to think about how you feel. I went back and forth on sort of being on each person's side, like at one point or another. I was just kind of like, well, come on, he didn't do it. So but then it's complex, it's complex in a way that's very like compelling and readable. So it's one that it gets you thinking about a lot of things. It gets you thinking about, like you said, your joke about if he's so rich, why did he go to jail? I mean, that is kind of an element of it. If his circumstances were different, he would not have been so easily convicted. And so it does bring up those like social elements, social justice type elements. So there's a lot at play here. And sometimes when you have so many like heavy and kind of downer topics at play, it makes the book drag and it makes it feel like, oh, I don't want to pick this up again. Like, I don't need to be depressed. So I think the author really succeeds in making a compelling story about upsetting things and people in depressing situations, but ultimately with a little bit of like hope and a sense of like what's next and where we need to go. So I am very pleased with this one winning. I think it's an excellent book, and I would really recommend it. Right. I did listen to part of the audiobook, which I believe we have right on Overdrive or Libby, however you use that. So all you have to do is use your library card. You could download that to your cell phone or mobile device. It was good, and it had different narrators for the different characters, which is nice. So it's a well-produced audio, but the book, like I said, it's a compelling read on its own. So, you can find more about the Women's Prize for Fiction, I said, at womensprizeforfiction.co.uk. You can also find them on Twitter at Women's Prize. We'll share the list here from our Twitter, which is at All the Book Show. We have these and past year's winners in our collection, so stop into the David A. Howe Public Library and check them out, and tell us what you think. Yeah. Where can they reach us, Eric?
At All the Book Show on SoundCloud. Yeah. They can find us on SoundCloud. They can find us on YouTube, Twitter, the David A. Howe Public Library, and Facebook.
We've expanded a little bit too, right? Where you can find like Stitcher and...
Yeah, we're also on Stitcher and Google Play Music.
Those are relatively new.
Some of the other things that I can't remember, but we made sure we were on those as well. Spotify.
And just a reminder, wherever you listen to your podcast, if there's an option to rate and review and share, that's super helpful in letting people know about the podcast.
We don't let Nick eat dinner unless he gets one review.
I have to get one review. It can be a negative review. It can just be like, oops, I was looking for something else. We'll take it. We'll take it. It's a numbers game. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, let's talk some library news. Okay. We're on the brink of the summer reading program, so I see lots of prizes going up throughout the library. You picked some great prizes for the teen program this year. The adult prize is a Nook tablet, and we've done one of the smaller ones in the past. This year we went all out, so it's a nice tablet.
The other ones were nice too. He didn't mean
No, they were. No, they were. But we kind of got the basic model in years past, and this year we went the step up. Yeah. It's nice. Yeah. It's a great prize. Okay. I would like it. I would like to win it, but not eligible.
All right. Well, if you're a teen, the prizes, 2 grand prize winners will win a telescope. That looks pretty cool. And then we have a bunch of like smaller prizes, like Nick said.
Yeah, you really downplayed those smaller prizes.
No, the smaller prizes will go up. We have like 16 of them, so 16 people will win those. But then I put all the prizes, all the entries in one big bowl, and I'll draw 2 names for the telescopes. But the other prize is cool. We got like a copy of Drop Mix in there. We got some cool young adult books, some young adult movies.
I saw some pop figures.
We got a Captain Marvel and a Thor. Yeah, we got some cool Legos.
And most of these you already posted on the Facebook page, right? So if you follow the library on Facebook, David A. Howe Public Library, you can see some of the stuff that Eric's been getting. You can also, that's a good place to see upcoming events and all that. Yeah. So Music on the Lawn is starting this week, or next week, I guess, as we record. Yeah. They're doing a Beatles tribute, all sorts of things. That's every Thursday at the library for the summer. Our lunches on the terrace are starting in July. Yeah. Every Tuesday we'll have a lunch from a different area restaurant. Book sale is going to be going on in the exhibition room. Yeah. And we're going to have prizes, programs, book clubs, all sorts of things for adults, kids, and teens, everybody of all ages. Come down to the library. Yeah. Book club is currently winding down on Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. Then we're moving on to The Loneliest Girl in the Universe by... Do you remember the author?
No.
Okay. Loneliest Girl in the Universe is our YA for adults book club. This is what Eric and I do every year. We pick a YA book and do a book club for adults, since I feel like our primary readership of YA, pretty much across the board,
a lot of them are,
I think most libraries find that. A lot of adult fans of young adult, myself included. So this looks like a good book, and it's going to fit with our space theme.
Yeah, I got to read it.
You do.
Have you started it?
No, I haven't yet. Both of our copies are checked out.
Is that true?
The audiobook and the regular book, yeah. Yeah, so they're checked out. So I did get holds coming in from other libraries. So if you want to participate in either book club, plenty of time. Join us for that. In the coming weeks, we're going to be doing some space-themed episodes, including talking with David Dvorkin, who's a sci-fi author past guest, sci-fi author, and worked at NASA. Yep. So we're going to be talking to David about his time on NASA. He mentioned it when we last interviewed him, which I don't remember the episode on that, but Take 5 with David Dvorkin, it's called. Mm-hmm. He mentioned his time at NASA, and we didn't really have the time to like sit down and talk about it, but space is our theme.
That happens. It's like when we interviewed Megan, and he was just like, I was talking to Stan Lee and Lynn Wein. We're like, you were talking to Lynn Wein? We couldn't go in.
Right. So this is nice. So David and I have been talking back and forth about some aspects that we're
I was walking on the moon, and I just, I was thinking, I'm going to write a Star Trek book when I get back.
Yeah. So you can look forward to that, and hopefully we'll have some other cool guests over the course of the summer reading program. Ooh. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the All the Book Show. We'll see you next week for episode 200.